Here we go. The New York Knicks have lost 7 out of their last 9 basketball games. Identity crisis, Karl-Anthony Towns problems, trades, Mike Brown issue. Let's talk through it, Knicks Nation.
Let's run that intro.
They're playing basketball.
You're listening to the Knicks Nation podcast, where we've got all your Knicks needs covered.
Puts up a three. Bang! Bang! He ties the game!
Now, live from the city that never sleeps, here are your hosts, Anthony and Chris.
We are back. What's going on, Knicks Nation? I'm your host, Anthony, joined by Chris. Figure it was a good time to come back and do the podcast, Chris, after your New York Knicks, our New York Knicks, are absolutely reeling right now, and they look like absolute shit. So, Chris, how are you?
Outside of what you just said, I'm pretty good, man. Excited to be back here talking Knicks. Unfortunately, not at a time where we're doing so hot, but excited nonetheless to, talk things out. Maybe a little bit therapy session here for everybody. How you doing, Ant?
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Just working a lot, personal stuff, working a lot, trying to get my mind off this team right now because it seems like it's all bad, but I don't want to get too crazy, but yet there are real concerns with this team, Chris. I mean, they suck right now. The Knicks suck. I'm going to preface by saying right now they suck, but welcome to the New York Knicks therapy session. Chris is going to let out how he feels. I'm going to let out how I feel. You guys in the chat, all of you that are trickling in here, you let out how you guys feel, ladies and gents. Look, since the calendar flipped, Chris, the Knicks have been absolutely underwhelming. Blowouts, collapse moments. More recently, they lost to the Sacramento Kings. They lose their captain. Jalen Brunson goes down with the ankle injury. Then he doesn't play versus the Golden State Warriors. Granted, it was a back-to-back. But the Kings game wasn't a back-to-back. And they actually had 2 days off for the first time since winning the NBA Cup. And they came out absolute flat. So you can throw that excuse out the window, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start, Chris. Karl-Anthony Towns has been in the media today. I guess since I mentioned him, we can start there. But it just hasn't been cat all around, Chris. It's just been, he's been the player that has been magnified the most because he's getting a boatload of money and he's not playing like a superstar. He's not playing like a superstar at all. And in the second half versus the Sacramento Kings, he went scoreless. He just non-existent from Karl-Anthony Towns. And if that's your second best player, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. This losing streak has me questioning a lot, Chris. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I'll pass it to you.
No, I feel you. I feel you. And look, I know it's a lot of things, mostly on the defensive side of the ball for me personally, but I started gravitating towards hating on Karl-Anthony Towns, his play as of late, just the drives that turn into either a turnover or offensive foul, right? It almost reminds me of how I felt when Julius Randle was still on this team, So I hate to go back to that, but, Cat was like the easy target, I guess, in my eyes. And I think you nailed it. He's getting a boatload of money and he is not playing like he is a 1B, 1A, or hell, even a second option on this team. And that includes when Jalen Brunson's not on the court. You'd expect him to be aggressive. You expect him to go out there, take boatloads of shots, get into a rhythm in this offense. And we're not seeing that. And that's what kind of scares me the most. He's not out there being aggressive even when Jalen Brunson's not on the court. And I think there's a little bit of friction between he and Mike Brown, like Mike Brown's clearly trying to get him going some way, but Mike Brown's also shouting him out a lot on these, post games, saying Cat needs to be better, basically. So it hasn't been fun, as of late. Ever since we got that NBA Cup, I feel like it's been just a hell of a roller coaster ride, and not a lot of ups, just free falling down with no end in sight, it seems.
It seems like, things are kind of off the rails a little bit. Once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate the members in here. Shout out to the members in here. Shout out to every single one of you joining us on this Friday night, talking about your New York Knicks. Yeah. Going back to the Karl-Anthony Towns, Mike Brown friction. Look, he's been getting called out for Mike Brown all season long in the media. He's been getting called out. It's different from Tom Thibodeau, really getting behind Karl-Anthony Towns and getting his back in the media. It's like hit a 180 here, and Mike Brown's like, "Nah, man, you got to be better. You got to be better," and he does. And I feel like the fan base has kind of turned on him, and it sucks, right? It sucks because it's the dog days of January, but at the same time, like, whenever he has no points in the second half versus Sacramento Kings, and you're sitting there like. And it just wasn't even that game. It's been like the games prior. I mean, this whole start to the new year, he's been super underwhelming. Offensively, he just looks lost out there. I don't know what to make of it. And it just seems like everyone is against him right now, and everyone wants to ship him off to Milwaukee, and everyone just wants to get rid of him. At least that's what I'm seeing on my end. But at the end of the day, I don't think any of that is going to happen. And it brings me back to like yesterday was an alarming sign because, again, him and Draymond Green have been having this little riffraff over these last couple of years, and Draymond Green freaking trips him, and they call a flagrant. He should have been ejected, but the NBA is not going to eject Draymond Green. Similar play to Embiid with Mitchell Robinson. And shout out to OG, shout out to Deuce. You saw them kind of getting, Draymond's face a little bit, but that was it. Like nobody, to pile on even more, it seems like his teammates don't like him, right? It seems like his coach doesn't like him. The fans don't like him. So what are we doing here? Like, yesterday was alarming, man. Draymond Green's calling him soft to the bench. I got Mike Brown hugging Karl-Anthony Towns. Draymond Green at the end of the game. Laughing it up. Dude just intentionally tripped your player. Like, if you were upset with somebody, Chris, we were on the same team, this dude is trying to intentionally hurt you out there, and you're on my team, there is no way it's hugs and kisses at the end of the game. There is no way. So that tells me that internally, these guys don't like him. They think he is soft. That's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I hope that's not the case, but for one, I did not like Mike Brown obviously celebrating with these guys, I won't say celebrating, but he was, laughing and chopping it up with them after something like that had happened to his player, on his team. I get it. He was coaching there. He got a ring there. That's all great, but you want to see Tom Thibodeau do that, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, go.
Last year, if you remember, Thibodeau did, at the end of the Golden State game, he did, I think, dap up Draymond or something like that. You remember? Like after.
Yeah, but he's not going to be jumping and hugging, to that extent.
Yeah. This row was said for what it's worth. Mike Brown coached Draymond last year, so.
Yeah.
I get it, but still.
And I don't think. I think Cat is just the easiest target right now. One, the money he's making. Two, I think it's also that we've seen what Cat can do, what he's capable of doing when he's going right. And I think the frustration is that he's just not consistent, especially this season. He's shown us what he can do. That he is a deadly shooter out there, and that at times he can bang down low. And he's able to do, he's able to post up smaller guys and take advantage of, mismatches in the paint and things like that. We've seen him be able to do that in spurts, just not consistently. And for some reason this year, he is struggling mightily with this new offense, this new game plan in general from Mike Brown. And I think, he's the easy scapegoat. I don't want to say that his teammates don't have his back or don't like him, because I feel like that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I think this team is lacking that gritty fight that we've grown accustomed to in the past few years. We're seeing a lot of teams get extremely physical with this Knicks team, and we're not responding.
We're not. We are not responding. Once again, Knicks fans, this is a therapy session. Let it all out. And then you look at the standings, and the Knicks are still number 2 in the East, right? If that hasn't changed. But they're closer to a play-in spot than they are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. So that is why we are concerned. Because if this continues and the Cavs are going on a winning streak, and they look good versus 76ers the other day, we are a play-in team all of a sudden. So, yes, it says right now that we are the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, but we're another like 2 or 3 losses away from dropping all the way down a 3 seed right now. Boston jumped ahead of us. So, and that's another story. Like, in a gap year, the Boston Celtics are ahead of you in the East. It doesn't make sense, right? So, this is from John. I always mispronounce his name. Really highly respected Minnesota reporter. I believe he writes for The Athletic. He says, reminder, when the Wolves were in the Western Conference Finals against Dallas and Draymond was on TNT, they decided as a group to boycott the postgame show after winning in Dallas as a show of support to Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns. And then here is Ben Stiller saying Cat got dragged by an illegal Embiid-type non-basketball play, pulled down on his ankle that could have injured him. Would have been disastrous if that happened. Would love to see our coach stand up for the big man. Hugs and kisses at the end of the game. I don't know, man. It just is everyone just tone deaf right now? Like is everyone so against Karl-Anthony Towns and this is what we've come to? Like, this is what we've come to? I don't get it. Like, it's frustrating because he is a gifted player. He's a gifted scorer. It seems like he's been pouting all year, complaining about the offensive role and this or that. And it seemed like him and Mike Brown from the start did not get along. And it seems like they still do not get along. And if you are, look, you don't have to get along, Chris, to win an NBA championship. You can hate the head coach. You can hate your teammates. As long as you win an NBA championship, who cares? Those Bulls team, they didn't like each other. They still won. So I'm not really like too concerned about that, but I don't know, man. It's just the vibes right now are just off with this team. You know, the vibes are just off. Look, they're 2.5 games from dropping to a play-in tournament, and they're coming home to, you know, a Suns team that just whooped them in the ass. And Brunson hopefully will be back and is questionable, but, you know, this sucks, man.
Yeah. It's like we can't get him out of our own way, you know? So,
yeah.
What do you think happens? I mean, look, it's kind of alarming when Mike Brown was, you know, he's a player's coach, right? So you wouldn't think he'd have a riff with someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, you know, especially right off the bat. And now this is something that is just dragging on and dragging on. It could get ugly. I mean, it could get ugly. And I think do you think it's going to get to the point where, and maybe that's now, it's affecting the team, right?
I think the trade rumors have probably got to Karl-Anthony Towns, and I think El Figure brings up in the chat what's going on. El Figgy, he brings up, I think not giving Cat his extension back in the summer messed with his head. The Giannis rumors messed with his head. I see a lot of people saying that, look, Cat knows his fate. He's going to be in Milwaukee. It's not a coincidence that both of the games the Knicks played against the Bucks this year, Cat was non-existent, right? He laid an egg in both of those games, especially the one in Milwaukee. I think someone in the front office, I don't know this to be true. I think Cat was maybe the bridge to get Giannis, and I maybe that has gotten down to Karl-Anthony Towns, but the New York Knicks had success in year one, and they kind of wanted to run this thing back with a different coach, expanded rotation, different bench. Yabu has been a disaster. And just wait and see what happens this year. But you're at a point where the New York Knicks are reeling right now currently. They're number 3 in the Eastern Conference. They bring the Boston Celtics, who were supposed to suck, have a better record than you. And you're getting smoked by bad teams. You haven't been competitive against a contender in like a month and a half in terms of like blowing out a contender. I just think I just hope that the New York Knicks didn't overplay their hand. And the trading deadline is up and coming here in like less than 3 weeks. But I just hope that it hasn't, because if it's fractured, man, just make a trade, right?
Yeah.
If the locker room's fractured, then just make a deal. Because it's not just Cat, right?
Right.
It's not just Cat. I mean, I could talk about Mikal. We could talk about Mikal.
I was just gonna say, Mikal's another one who's been, frustrating, and you called it Yabu. Yabu was supposed to be a huge pickup for the Knicks. I mean, on the way that we were able to sign him, that deal, and it has just been a disaster. I think he's averaging 3 points on the season and probably shooting like, I believe, 32% from long range, which is not what we expected. We thought we were getting somebody who could defend, space the floor. That's been a disaster. But when it comes to Cat, again, going back to Cat, I mean, all good points, that not getting the extension, I'm pretty sure that is messing with him. And all the rumors, right? But honestly, the way that he's playing, who's going to want to trade for him? Are the Bucks going to want to give up Giannis for Karl-Anthony Towns the way he's out there playing right now? Like, I feel like, what team wants that right now?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to have to give up a lot.
Yeah,
Windhorse, something like that.
Windhorse said today, like within the last couple of hours, that the trade market is on pause because teams don't know if Giannis is going to get moved or not. But going back to the trade, going back to Yabu, so the New York Knicks have been trying to, they've been playing him, and he's actually had I would say he actually had like a couple of good games for them. But they've been trying to up his trade value. All of a sudden, Mohamed Diarra doesn't play ever since his career night in New Orleans. He doesn't play, which I don't understand. You're playing Yabu out there. The game, last night's game, man. I mean, it was a disaster. I mean, he literally did nothing right. Like, I was just focused on him. He did nothing right on the court, man. Nothing. And if you think for a second you're going to get anything of value by trading Yabu with Daddier, and you're going to have to enhance the picks because somebody's going to think they could fix Yabu. I don't know. Maybe Daddier intrigues them. I don't know. But you're very thin on what you can do. But yeah, man, the rotations have been like Mike Brown has been, when Josh Hart was out, he's been trying to figure it out, and Diarra was stepping up. Then he hasn't been getting consistent minutes, and people have said the Knicks are trying to hide Diarra, but I'm like, why would the Knicks try to hide Diarra? Aren't they trying to win? So, at the end of the day, here we are. We're still second in the East, and things are messy right now in Knicks land, but, I just hope that this doesn't spiral into a place where, we don't want to take it. Right. I just hope that this doesn't spiral into a place that we don't want to take it. Once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. It's looking like Chris has froze. Chris has froze. See if we can get Chris back in here. Once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. Shout out to the chat. Chris has froze. Let's see what you got. A poll in the YouTube chat. Got a poll in the YouTube chat. It says, what is the biggest issue for the New York Knicks right now? Lost identity, cat fit / chemistry, effort and toughness, just a bad stretch. Cat fit and chemistry is at 48%, Chris. I'm speaking about the poll in the YouTube chat. Yeah, man. A lot of people just think Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't fit with this team. And it's a far cry from what we saw in the playoffs. And I have this stat from Karasobi on X. He says numbers below are since last season. It's actually worked for this year alone. It's extremely difficult to build a truly elite team when your best player is one of the worst defenders on the planet, and probably impossible when your second star is also an awful defender. Jalen Brunson is having a terrible defensive year. He actually, what was it? The game versus Portland, I thought was one of his best defensive games. But yeah, like this stretch makes you think, like, can this Knicks team win a championship when two of your best players defensively stink? And we've been asking this question for a while now. And to be quite frankly, Chris, I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
Yeah. I've been asking myself the same thing because look, that post said it all. You know, it's extremely difficult. And I've always said this. Why do we not see, you know, Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns out there more running pick and rolls and all that jazz, right? Well, I think it's simply the coaches, and I'm even going back to Thibodeau, you know, saying, look, we can't have these two guys out there at the same time because of the defense issue. And I think that's the way that they're, you know, we're trying to get around that. Having JB and having Cat out there at the same time, it's like, you know, especially right now, it's two turnstiles out there, basically. You know, there's nobody's scared of them. They hunt them down, actually. So I've thought about it a lot. You know, can we win with Cat? Are we going to have to choose one or the other? I mean, I'm always choosing Jalen Brunson, you know.
Of course.
I'm going to choose Jalen Brunson over Cat, obviously, but I'm sure a lot of Knicks fans have asked that question, you know, and it seems like, you know, no. But we had a hell of a run last season with Cat, you know, so is it possible? Not playing defense the way that we are now, right? And that, you know, to take the focus off Cat for a little bit, I feel like OG and Mikal also on the defensive side have not played up to par.
Yeah,
you know.
I think that duo is a bit overrated in terms of like what we're asking from them. And yeah. I think if you were to tell me who are you picking out of OG and Mikal, I'm picking OG any day. We saw last night he was getting to the paint at will. And I'm like, don't Jalen Brunson so you see that more from OG. But it's going to be tough, man. It is. I mean, I don't think with two, you're asking a lot from OG and Mikal. Mikal is, you know, he's good in the passing lanes, and it seems like when he wants to hit another gear defensively, he'll turn it on. We saw it in the beginning of the season when he was really good, and then all of a sudden he's been lagging. I mean, it's just like he doesn't get to the free throw. Yeah, he doesn't get to the free throw line. If he's not hitting his shots, then honestly, like what's the point? You know, it just seems like he wants to do his job and he wants to go home. That's it. He doesn't want to die for a loose ball. He doesn't want to, you know, take on contact. He doesn't. That's not him, right? And there's a reason why he's never missed an NBA game, and I'm grateful for that. And you know, it's a hell of an accomplishment. But there are reasons for that because he does not want to do the junkyard dog stuff, right? He doesn't want to do any of that stuff. And that's why Josh Hart is so important. within the lineup because he's kind of like the connector, the oil in the engine, as I say. But yeah, man, it's like when the Knicks are playing like this, you point at all their flaws and you're like, why, like this team? I don't know, man. I don't know about this team. I don't know. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Once again, smash the like button. Subscribe to the Knicks Nation channel. This is a Knicks Nation therapy session, ladies and gentlemen. Your New York Knicks are reeling right now, but we are here. Season is not over. We're still going to stick with our New York Knicks. Just a rough patch. What do you say to those, Chris? We're like, oh, yeah, dog days of January. They'll figure it out after the trading deadline. I see how Figgy saying they'll figure it out after the trading deadline. I still have hope. And they might. I think they will. Like, if you're a betting man, I feel like I would take the New York Knicks and be like, look, they're still going to finish top 3 in the East. But what do you say to that, Chris? Dog days of January. All is well.
I think they are going to figure it out. I think they're going to figure it out. I think this team is too good to not figure it out. I mean, I think they have to pick up the intensity, and they got to realize that, Look, we have to play hard the entire game and not just try to turn it on and off, quarter by quarter, basically. Because, again, I'm seeing things like, when it's crunch time, fourth quarter, the effort level obviously goes way up when you're trying to make a comeback or whatever the case may be, and you see what they're capable of. Yeah. For whatever reason, they're not playing at that level for a full game. And we thought with, obviously Mike Brown now in the fold, playing bench players and going deeper in the rotation, guys would have more energy, guys will have more to give throughout these games because they're not playing 40, plus minutes or something like crazy like what they were doing under Tibbs. And we haven't seen that, which is, it's kind of weird. And then they have to be tougher. That's all it is. They need to be tougher. If the other team is going out there playing physical, we got to go out there and be physical too and not just be complaining to the refs, which is honestly what I see a lot of. And I hate it. And you'll see Cat do it, obviously, a lot. And I feel like that trickles down to the entire team. Then the entire team starts complaining. Hell, you even see Brunson out there. And we all know both these guys, Brunson and Cat, are getting hit constantly. But we're not getting the calls either.
Yeah, Cat's whistle is trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
But at what point do you just stop complaining and play your game? Because I just think there's so many factors in play when it comes to the Knicks that is just taking their attention away from just competing.
It's true. Well said. And the whistles, the refs, look, I could point to many games where the referees has been trash. I thought yesterday's game versus the Warriors, I think Cat got kind of the crappy end of the stick with, his picking up his 5th foul. I didn't think that was a 5th foul versus Draymond. I mean, come on now. But when you have that reputation, you're gonna get that crappy end of the stick. And Cat is extremely animated when he drives to the hoop. Not everything is a foul. He wants a foul on every single play and call. And does he get fouled a lot? I would say yeah, but the complaining needs to stop. And I really do think that there's going to be a stretch where we turn it around. Hopefully it starts versus the Suns. I see loud and clear in the chat says if we get mopped up by Phoenix and then it's time to panic in the Garden. Yeah. And look, Phoenix has been playing really well lately and they just beat you. So you hope that the New York Knicks, let's take out some revenge and anger on the Phoenix Suns during this next game. But, the defensively, the rating has been terrible since the start of the new year. The team's just scoring 120 plus on the Knicks at an alarming rate, Chris. And it's just not one night, man. To start the new year, it's been a pattern. You're having these guys just have career nights against us left and right. I mean, I feel like that's been happening since I was a kid, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I felt like that had stopped for a bit, and it did for the most part. It did. But yeah, it's been happening a lot more frequently, especially as of the new year.
Yeah, and it's just been like the injuries happen and then the rotations and then the defensive slide. Remember, the Knicks crept in a top 10 efficiency rating in the beginning of December. We were like, oh, we're starting to figure this thing out. Hey, now, competition had a lot to do with that. But, it just, the injuries compounded into Mike Brown trying to figure out his rotations. And I know the Knicks are trying to, find a trade partner for Yabusele, but I mean, the dude just simply can't do anything. So why are you trying to increase his trade value if every time he's out there, he can't do anything? You're decreasing his trade value. Like you're hurting his trade value by even playing him. So play Diawara. Diawara has shown us flashes this year, and he should be playing over Yabu. And I know the Knicks, they want Yabu to work because that contract, especially for a first apron team, man, you're really up against it, and you kind of need Yabu to work, or you got to trade him. And I think they will, but man, that's been a disaster for them. And Clarkson has been inconsistent. I liked his drives versus Golden State, and now Tyler Kolek has hit a little bit of a wall. I think Kolek was bad versus Golden State. Kolek was bad versus Sacramento. And that has you questioning things again. I know he's a second-year young player, but, the depth is like we're like just 2 months, like last month, we were like, oh, we got depth. Let's go. We can trust these guys. And now it's like, can we? I don't know.
Yeah. I think with Kolek, it's just him playing, then not playing for a bit, then going back to playing. I think he might be the type of player that just needs consistent playing time, He has to get in a rhythm. I think that's why we're seeing him struggling now, because obviously he's being forced back in the rotation. But once Deuce came back, I felt like, that was it for Kolek pretty much, in a sense. And Diawara, like you mentioned, had a career night, but I felt like the next game after, he was just chucking three after three after three. Mm-hmm. And granted, they were letting him shoot it, and he was taking the open shot, which I liked. But I feel like that didn't sit right with Mike Brown after a while, and he hasn't seen the floor much ever since.
Yeah.
So not sure if that's just a teaching moment, like, hey, even though it's there, you shouldn't shoot it every single time or what. But yeah, it's kind of like, Clarkson. I feel like with Clarkson, I just always say he's going to be on or he's going to be off. There's no in between with him. But I do like his effort out there. One thing I will say, Clarkson is playing harder than some of, our defensive, Mikal. I'm going to pick on Mikal right now. I see Clarkson out there playing harder defense than Mikal at times.
Sure, yeah.
Granted, it's not good defense. He's fouling a lot, but he's putting the effort out there. You know? My biggest thing with Mikal, and going back to what you said before, not to get off track, but you mentioned his whole Iron Man streak. I think that's taking away from his game. If it's simply that he's just trying to stay healthy because that streak is ongoing, that's terrible. Because it's really putting a cap on his game, man. And it's true. He shies away from contact. And I don't know, do you think it's also part coaching? Because Mikal was heavily used early on in the season, and we thought he was going to have a crazy year because it looked so good. He was getting his shots in his spots. He was more involved in the offense, I felt. He was actually bringing the ball up a lot more than he has been recently. Just, using him in different actions. Now we're not seeing it as much. We're seeing kind of like a regression to the Mikal we had, last season.
All facts. Mikal Bridges, every time he drives at a hole, he's fading away. So you know it. Yeah. I was sitting there watching the game last night with my wife, and I'm just like, he was driving to the hole, and I'm like, he's going to do a fadeaway jump shot right now. Did a fadeaway. That's his bread and butter. Like, he's really good at it, but he doesn't want contact. He does not. It's been his trend, throughout his career. He's really been a low free throw shooter. That's just been him. And we're trying to make him into a player that he's not sometimes. And I just think that, I was thinking about this today. I'm like, man, if the New York Knicks put Mikal Bridges, like, you would obviously have to package him. But if they traded away Mikal Bridges, would you even get 2 picks back for him? 1?
Yeah.
With obviously, I was like, I don't think so. Like, but then again, I may be wrong. I don't know. Look, we're going through a lot, man. We're thinking about everything. So I was in my thoughts today, for real, man. I was like, man, like, it's this team, it's Jekyll and Hyde, because sometimes they show you just how great they can be, and sometimes they just show you how poor they are. And I'm hoping that this is a rough patch, but Mikal is just one of those players that it just seems like he constantly needs to be like talked up to. Like, the kid on the basketball team that's always sulking, and he just seems like one of those players. He just constantly needs reassurance that everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay, Mike. It's just, I don't know. Like, sometimes he'll turn it on, Chris. Sometimes he leaves a lot to be desired out there, and it just. I hope they turn this around, man. I do, because this is a pressure packed season, man. It is, and that's where we come back to. It's a pressure packed season. That's why we're here, because James Dolan 2 weeks ago said, I expect this team to be in the finals, right? Since then, you got smoked by Detroit. The Boston Celtics have leapfrogged you. I got Jason Tatum saying that I'll be back soon. I got the 76ers all of a sudden, like, people are picking them to come out of the East. I'm like, damn, things can change quickly around here. And then I have people saying, wake me up in April, Chris. I don't care what happens now. Wake me up in April. And I can't argue with them.
Yeah, it's true. It
is true.
But I mean, I don't think the Knicks are going to get to the point where we just fall out of the playoff picture altogether. I don't see that happening. No. But a lot of the things that are happening now, they're concerning. They're concerning, and like you mentioned, this team, the expectations are huge. They're high. So, it's just been a lot of different things all at once, it seems like, especially when you go off of a high when you win the NBA Cup. Yeah. I mean, we were feeling really good winning that NBA Cup, right?
Too good.
And then we just came crashing down. And look, I say crashing down, and maybe even that is just, over-exaggerating a bit. We are going through a slump. That's clear. Mm-hmm. But it's just the way it looks, right? The body language of some of the players, obviously, this whole drama now with Mike Brown, Karl-Anthony Towns obviously getting the spotlight, and obviously Jalen Brunson being on the shelf. I think he's actually questionable for tomorrow's game, yes, which is nice. But they're gonna have to fix it, and I think ultimately they will figure it out and fix things. But I think we have to. I don't think it's gonna be the same thing that we've been used to, right? I think this team is just different. Their identity is different. I don't know if they can hit that level where they're that tough, gritty team that's gonna bring it every night and just if we get punked, we punk them right back. I don't see that out there. It doesn't sit well with me, but I just haven't seen that fight, and that's one of my biggest concerns, honestly.
Yeah, man. The New York Knicks have been getting the slings and arrows in the media lately, Chris. This is exactly what people feel about them. Mr. Softy Chalk, man. That's what the people feel. Sometimes I feel like that too. I'm sorry, man. I love the Knicks. I'm sorry.
That brings me back.
I'm sorry, man.
I was about to run outside.
Mr. Softy. Let's be real, man. This team is not like, I don't think you need to be this hard team to win an NBA championship. Like, I don't think that's like necessary. Like, I don't know if you can win with a bunch of softies. I I wouldn't say OKC was built like a bunch of tough guys. You got Hardenstein. Yeah, you got like, I don't think that's their MO. Jalen Williams was, he got in your face a little bit. But yeah, man, that's the narrative. The New York Knicks are a bunch of softies right now. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Once again, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Tendro says I could taste chocolate when you play. Vanilla ice cream, man, with the rainbow sprinkles, man. Damn. I need to get myself some ice cream after this. All right. So how can the New York Knicks... So let's hit these trade stuff, right? So I once again appreciate you guys in the chat. This is from the Zach Lowe show. He says 2 names that I had heard were Day'Ron Sharpe or Zaire Williams for the New York Knicks. Both of these players are on the Brooklyn Nets. He said that it'll probably be Yabusele, Dadier, plus like second-round picks for them. I do like the upside with either one of these players. They are big, lengthy. They can rebound. They can score. But I don't know if the Brooklyn Nets are dying to help the New York Knicks, considering that, they just fleeced you for 5 first-round picks for Mikal. I don't know if this is a trade package that'll get it done. But I don't hate this. I think Day'Ron Sharpe and Zaire Williams, I think they're plug-and-play guys. I think they'll fit right in. I think, for their roles. I like it. But again, I don't know if Brooklyn does this. Chris there. Chris froze again.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back? Oh, man. He's back. He's back.
Trying to take me out.
They're trying to take him out, man. They're trying to take you out. So yeah, Chris, what do you think about this? Does it move you? Chris, you there? Look, Zaire Williams and Day'Ron Sharpe. Again. You back? I was asking, what do you think about this?
I'm back again. I don't know. It doesn't move the needle for me, I feel like we need. I mean, I like it.
Play.
I like it just because obviously they're 2 players that we can throw out there and probably get more production than Yabu has given us, and obviously Daddy is not even seeing the floor, so I'll take that. But I need something with a little bit more punch, man.
A little bit more punch. Let's see what you guys are saying. Tony says Mikal is who got us to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. That's like the comeback that you can't really have a retort to. It's like, yeah, he won us those games in Boston, and without that, we wouldn't have got to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Karl-Anthony Towns, big shot. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say on Mikal, that was a different Mikal. That's the Mikal we want to see this entire season, and we're not. That was a more physical, more on the ball Mikal. He was making guys feel them.
Whoa.
You're not getting that right now.
Pause that. Then Grilled Mouth says Mikal has been terrible in New York. Let's see some of these comments, Chris. A lot of the people have been chatting in the chat. Once again, appreciate you guys chatting. Hit the poll, subscribe. Appreciate the members in here. Joel says, can't be just coaching. We saw OG take control, but we don't see that with Mikal. Mikal actually had a pretty good shooting game versus the Golden State Warriors. It's just the other stuff you're not getting, right? Joel says the inconsistencies is this team's downfall. Yeah. Like Chris said earlier, man. Inconsistencies. Mr. Eno says the Knicks are just another so-so team in a weak conference. I wouldn't call them a so-so team. Joel says I currently don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Chris, what's the light at the end of the tunnel? Let's picture the light. What does the light look like at the end of the tunnel for this Knicks team? Let's try to picture it for Joel.
One is health, obviously, right? I mean, obviously, we got Shamit back recently. McBride is back out there. We just recently got Josh Hart back. We need, obviously, Jalen Brunson back. And then this team needs to get back to the way that they were defending earlier in the season. You know? I think that's the two biggest things, in my opinion, and obviously stop complaining to the refs. But I think that's the light at the end of the tunnel. Get healthy, get back on the floor, and give solid effort out there, because we're not seeing a lot of those things, obviously, right now. And effort is the number one thing, in my opinion, when it comes to defense.
Mm-hmm.
And the Knicks just look lazy out there. Like you mentioned, we finally got 2 days of rest, and we came out there like we played a back-to-back to back-to-back. It's crazy.
Put to bed that.
It's crazy.
Put to bed that argument, right?
Yeah.
El Figgy says OG takes regarding Cade, Tatum, etc., and still gets more points than Mikal. OG gets a pass. I want a Phoenix Suns Mikal. Yeah, I want a Phoenix Suns Mikal too.
Yeah.
You
Same.
know? And in flashes, we've seen it, but when it's bad, it's bad. When it's bad, you're like, damn, we overpaid for this guy, man. 5 firsts, damn. Man, you see all these trades going on now. These trades with, you know, Trae Young getting traded for a bag of chips. Anthony Davis is about to get traded for depleted value, and I'm sorry about Anthony Davis, guys. I know I wanted Anthony Davis on this team, but let me take the L on Anthony Davis really quick. Let me take the L on Anthony Davis, because I thought swapping Anthony Davis for Karl-Anthony Towns would make this team better, and I think it will. But if the guy can't stay on the court, I mean, I'm sorry. I apologize for that shitty take, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, technically, the defense might be better, because then Towns wouldn't be on the court for a defense, right? Nah, let me stop.
There you go. Tony says, so let me be clear on this for the chat. So we expect all 5 starters to be productive in an offense and only expect 2 starters to play defense? I'm confused. I think we expect this Knicks team. I think the expectations for this Knicks team, my expectations for this Knicks team were to be up top of the Eastern Conference, and you look at the standings at number 3, where you're like, okay, we are. But it hasn't looked like that, man. You got dominated by Detroit. You got beat by Boston, right? It just hasn't looked good, right? It hasn't looked good. You lost, you know, against the Kings, man. I mean, come on now. What are we doing here? It just hasn't looked good as a package. And it is January. It is the dog days of January. I really wanted this Knicks team to run the East. I really wanted them to have home court throughout the entirety of the Eastern Conference rounds and get to the finals, and let's go. I thought that it was sitting there on a silver platter for the New York Knicks to take control. And look, maybe it is. But I just think from what we've seen from this unit, from Karl-Anthony Towns being called out from Mike Brown, the turmoil between our head coach and Cat, it seems like he's not connected offensively. The bench being inconsistent, the big signing in Yabusele. I mean, come on now. Like he's not even playing like. I'd rather see Dink Pate in Westchester. Like, honestly, he's not playing good at all. And granted, we have seen McCullers have a big game in Atlanta, right? But Kolek have his career night. We've seen D-Rower have a career night in New Orleans. So we've seen the young guys flash, but now they're not really doing anything. D-Rower's not playing. Kolek's been inconsistent. But Mitchell Robinson isn't like... First of all, Chris, we've gone 49 minutes without mentioning Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride is having an amazing season for the New York Knicks.
Sniper.
Like... It sucks that we're at this, like, I'm sorry, Chris and I apologize, but McBride is, by all counts of offensive metrics, defensive metrics, net rating, the New York Knicks' best player, right? Oh, he's up there. He's been incredible for the New York Knicks this season, Chris. Incredible.
Yeah. No complaints when it comes to Deuce McBride, man. Even after injury, he comes back and he's on fire.
The confidence, the stroke, the shot. I mean, come on.
He's shooting lights out, man. Yeah. He is lights out.
Yeah, so shout out to Deuce, man. Got the Deuce drop in here somewhere. Shout out to Deuce. But yeah, Mitchell Robinson not playing back-to-back. El Figgy said, what's the sense of not playing Mitchell Robinson versus the Golden State Warriors and playing him versus the Kings? And what's the logic behind that? I don't know. Maybe with travel, they didn't want to put stress on his ankle. You know, he traveled, got off the plane. I don't know. But he's a free agent at the end of the year, and we've seen the New York Knicks be very proactive with players that they don't extend. So is he but you can't trade Mitchell Robinson, Chris, because I feel like you need Mitchell Robinson if you want to win an NBA championship, right?
Yeah.
You can't trade him.
And I do feel Mitch has slowed down a bit too. I mean, look, this entire team I feel like is struggling outside of like McBride, right? I feel like Mitch is also another one that's his energy level's just not quite up there. Not what we were seeing earlier on, but yeah, I mean, look, there's questions there. I don't think you can trade a Mitch. I don't think with, you know, again, I hate to go back to Cat, but like obviously you cannot just have Cat back there and Yabu is just not defensively not able to stay in front of anybody. And then what do you have left? Hukporti?
Yeah,
so I mean, there's not much there. I mean, look, I'm one of those that wants to see Hukporti take a leap and play amazing. We haven't seen it, you know, which sucks, but I don't think this team can afford to lose a Mitchell Robinson. He's literally the big out there, you know? Yes, Towns is out there, and when he decides to, he can block shots, he can rebound, but it's when he decides to, right? And I feel like that's the case with a lot of guys on this team right now. It's when they decide to turn it on, you know?
That's a problem, man. You know,
that's a problem.
When they decide to. That's really well put. Yeah, when they decide to. And it's like this Knicks season, sometimes I feel like they're bored, but I'm like, why are you I don't know. Maybe there's some psychology being said to like winning the NBA Cup, celebrating, being ecstatic that one night, and then all of a sudden just yeah, man, let's get to the playoffs
like
now.
You let your foot off the gas almost, right?
Yeah, but you know you don't want to fall in the play-in. You're closer to the play-in than you're on the 1 seed. You don't want to do that. So, yeah, man. Shout out to Deuce. Shout out to the OG last night. Really, really, really showed up, and just hopefully we can get our captain back versus the Phoenix Suns and turn this thing around, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Let's turn this around. I got faith that our New York Knicks will turn this around, man. We're still number 3 in the East. If you were to pick the New York Knicks versus the Boston Celtics in the playoff series, I'm picking the Knicks, right?
Yeah, same. Let's do it again, right?
76ers, I'm picking the Knicks. Well, you didn't seem too confident about that, Chris.
Philly. I mean, they got.
You didn't answer me, man. You kind of like.
That kid VJ, man, out there. He's something.
He is. Isaiah, what's going on in the chat? He says also a part of the light, continue the ball movement, has player movement. When they go away from it, the team looks lost. I thought in the first quarter last night, Chris, they were really good offensively, cutting, hitting their shots, went up by as much as like 15, and then they crapped the bed. So Loud and Clear says crazy. We were up 17 in the first quarter. Well, yeah, I just said that. No killer instinct without JB on the court. Anyone remember what we looked like when we first got OG and Randall and JB on the floor that first came together? What killed us? Well, we couldn't keep Isaiah Hartenstein. Yeah, that was another thing I thought about, Chris. the what if game. Like, I started playing the what if game a lot in my head today. And on the screen, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. But this is the what if game I started playing in my head. Like, what if we got 1 year of Dante, Mikal, Josh Hart, and Brunson on the court together? Like, what would have that looked like? You know? I don't know. We will never know, I guess. But I would have liked to know. I would have liked to know what that looked like. I think Chris is frozen again. But yeah, this is what goes on in my mind when we are stinking the bed and absolutely playing like dog shit. So, yeah. Once again, got the poll in the YouTube chat. Let's check the poll update. Poll update. We have, let me get Chris back in here. We have 41 votes. It says, what's the Knicks' biggest issue right now? Lost identity, cat fit, and chemistry. Effort, toughness, just a bad stretch. So far, cat fit and chemistry is leading that poll with 41%. Everyone thinks Karl-Anthony Towns does not fit with this current Knicks unit. Chris, did you see the graphic I put up there before you froze?
No.
I said, today I started to play the what if game. We never saw this. I would have liked to seen it. I blame Randall for that extension, but you see that a lot when the Knicks lose. But I really do think, like, what if the Knicks kept the guys together and that first round pick they sent off to Minnesota, who I think turned out to be actually a pretty solid player. But we'll never know.
We'll never know, right? But I do think about that. And I was hyped when I heard rumblings that maybe we could possibly get Dante back, but
yeah, it's not happening.
I mean, I think there'll be a little bit more fight, in this team. Obviously, Dante will be somebody who'll run up and get in somebody's face, right? He'd have a guy like Towns back.
Yeah.
So,
going back.
Things like that. Even Julius, right? Even Julius. He would get – not a lot of people were messing with Julius.
That's the thing I missed. Like, that's the thing we missed without Julius. Julius Randle wouldn't take any shit whatsoever. Like, he'll get in someone's face, right? He'll get in someone's face. Here is the updated standings on the Eastern Conference. You have the New York Knicks, number 3 seed in the East. Boston Celtics have leapfrogged again. The Knicks are 3-7 in their last 10 games. They are absolutely reeling right now. The Toronto Raptors are right on their butt. They are playing good basketball. The 76ers are playing better basketball, like Chris was talking about, And the Magic, I don't really trust them, but here we are in a year where we thought it was just going to be the Knicks and the Cavs. You got the Cavs in a play-in, the Knicks behind the Celtics and Detroit, and away we go. Away we go.
And the Magic are getting healthy too.
Yep.
I think they got Franz Wagner back.
Yeah,
both
they did.
of them actually. The brothers, the Wagner brothers.
The Wagner brothers are back. Here are the Knicks' upcoming. Here is the Knicks' upcoming schedule. Oh, you see! Look at all this green! Yay! Look at all this green! Yeah. Oh. It started with that Spurs game.
Yeah,
that was a tough one because you actually had that game, and then you had Champagne. Like, of course.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Of course.
How many shots did he get that were wide open after he had 7 or 6 threes at the time? Oh man.
David says, and what's going on, David? Appreciate you guys in the chat. In hindsight, we jumped too soon on the cat trade. We should have picked up a free agent center and rode out with the Nova 4, and Randall would have been deep. Yeah, but, I don't know if we have that magical Eastern Conference Finals run. Like, let's not forget last year was special for us Knicks fans. We got to a place where we haven't gotten to in 25 years, and we were a game one magical magnet ball away from possibly going to the NBA Finals, man. I mean, like, let's take a step back, and yes, that playoffs were magical, as we all know, but do we have that magic in us again? Detroit Pistons are hungrier. They still have no experience. They still haven't won a playoff series. And I think you can make a case. What's scary is you can make a case for the New York Knicks beating anyone any one of these top 6 teams in the East, but you can also make a case of them losing to anyone right now, as we currently stand. Like, I can make a case for the Knicks to lose to Detroit. I can make a case for the Knicks to lose to Cavs, the 76ers. Scary. It is scary. El Figgy says, last night, OG and Deuce were the only 2 with fight left in them in the fourth quarter. Yep. Only 2 with fight left in them in the fourth quarter. Having some technical difficulties up there. Once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. Happy Friday to every single one of you in the chat. Chris is back. Some technical difficulties on this Friday. All right, Chris, anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap this up?
Stay positive. I'm probably talking to myself right now. Stay positive.
Yeah.
This is just a slump the Knicks are going through. Maybe ease off on Cat a bit. I don't know. What do you think? Is the writing on the wall for Cat right now? Do you think the Knicks move him? I don't see it happening. I mean, look, with the whole Bucks thing, the story out there with the Bucks right now is that they're trying to build something around Giannis and that they're going to be active and trying to fortify their roster. So, I mean, I don't see Cat going anywhere. Not this season, at least. But I do think this team will turn it around. Obviously, once we get JB back, things will look much better. But I do think the Knicks got to go out there and make a smaller trade, right? We've heard Najee Marshall out there, and I think that's a guy that I would love to bring onto this team. I think that's the perfect type of player. Someone who defends and can score a bit. I think you need something like that. That's what I meant earlier when I need a little bit more punch. And I think Najee Marshall will bring that.
The only thing that scares me with Najee Marshall is his cost. Like, what is it going to do? What is it going to cost? He's a bucket, gets to the free throw line. He's, just a really solid player. I think his last 3 games, 22, 24, 22 points. What are we going to give to get him? Like, I don't know. What that
Leon we trust.
Hey, man. Leon we trust, but I hope I would love a Najee Marshall on this Knicks team off the bench.
Yeah.
I feel like we're missing that. But I don't know if a Yabu Daddy, I think you would have to include like one of the other young guys. Like if they're like, oh no, we want Kolik, or oh no, we want Diarra. And we don't want Daddy, we want Diarra. I don't know if you do that, but I don't even know if the money works. But in a championship expectation season, it's like
you might have to. You might have to.
You might have to. David says, I think Cat is folding under that New York pressure. The media and the fans are trolling him. Yeah, man. That's the thing with Cat. Everyone's trolling him right now. Everyone is just, everyone wants to trade him. I see it on the Knicks Nation, at Knicks Nation on Instagram. I like every post it's like, trade Cat, get this guy out of here. But I don't want him on my team. Get this guy out of here. He is. I do think to a point it's a bit unfair. I do think this Knicks team needs to start having his back a little bit. I agree. I think it's gone too far to the point where you don't want to alienate him, and it feels like he's being alienated right now in the locker room. And I don't want that, because Cat is important, whether you like him or not, man. And I do think he was the bridge. I do think he was the bridge to Giannis. And it's kind of funny how the Bucks are reeling right now and the Knicks are reeling right now, and it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But I think if we get bounced in the first or second round, and Giannis is on the Bucks in the summer, I think that's a trade that gets done. I do. But
Yeah.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Cat's play start to get better after the trade deadline, right?
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's something to watch. El Figgy says, you know you're wrong for that. So, Isaiah says, some of the Knicks being friendly with Draymond Green is disgusting, man. How you going to not stand up for Cat? Yeah, Chris, we spoke about it, right?
Yeah. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It's just, you got to have your guys back, you know, regardless of what's going on. You got to have his back.
Got to. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Once again, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. As always, it's at Knicks Nation on Instagram, at Knicks Nation on X. Make sure you follow the socials. Make sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify. Chris and I have been just busy, man. You know, some positive life news. Chris, you know, and I have, you know, just been crazy busy lately. And, you know, it all, like, I don't know if you want to announce.
We'll save it for another
We'll save
one.
it.
We'll save it.
Yeah, we'll save it. But the podcast, we're hoping to be more consistent. Every Sunday is doable from now to the trading deadline, because we're gonna hear a lot of rumors. So just be on the lookout for the updates. Make sure you hit that notification bell as well. And just thank you for giving us the time on this Friday night, man. Many other things you could be doing than hearing us, you know, have a therapy session on the New York Knicks, man.
Thanks. Appreciate ya.
Right. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the members in here. Let's go get them. Got to win the next one, Chris.
Gotta come out on fire.
Let's get them. I'm Anthony from Knicks Nation.
I'm Chris.
We'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.